love it. It has been so freaking cold here in the Pacific Northwest, and I just need another coat in my closet. I can only style my navy blue North Face puffer jacket so many different ways. And so I'll be making the Betsey Johnson of Alley Cat Butterick pattern. It is the 3845 vintage Mrs. coat. It is a 1970s pattern that I got on Etsy. I'm very excited about this pattern. Here are my inspiration picks. It's a Parisian cape coat style. It has this modern romantic flair with classic historical literature undertones. It is so yummy. I love it. It's giving taste, it's giving elegance, it's giving intellect. I'm envisioning sexy, badass woman walking into Harvard Law School lecture hall on a crispy fall day. Yeah, you guys get the vibe. And lucky for me, this cold weather here in Portland is not going anywhere anytime soon. So I have plenty of time to play around with this design. The shape of this piece is what really attracts me to it. And with the fabric that I chose, I'm going for like vintage chic, New York comfy cozy. You know, it's like, it's loose fitted, it's flared at the waist, just comfy cozy. The recommended fabrics for this project are things like corduroy. Ugh, I have such a bad speech impediment. I cannot say my R's. It's so hard. Corduroy. I can't say it. And then heavyweight fabric, poplin, wool. My dream would be to buy a really nice, high quality wool for this project, but the stage of my sewing career that I'm in, since I'm still a beginner, I'm really trying to use all of my Facebook Marketplace fabrics that I have. And so it's fun for me to dig through my piles. I have hundreds of yards of fabrics. Like, I have an illness. I do so much shopping on Facebook Marketplace for secondhand fabrics. So I am going to hold off on buying wool. I'm not considering this a mock-up, but of course, every time I try a pattern for the first time, I sort of expect something to go wrong or that I'm going to have to remake it. And so I'd rather use my thrifted secondhand fabrics before going out and purchasing the expensive fabrics. I just want to give the pattern a try first, and then I'll step up and like perfect it. But with that being said, I recently got a humongous lot from this gal on Facebook. I haven't counted how many yards I got from her. It has to be at least like 20 to 30 yards of fabric for like $40. I love when I find a steal like that. Like when the fabric is $1 to $2 a yard. Ugh. It is the best. I was digging through to see if I could find something that might work for this project, and I don't have a lot of thick fabrics. The ones that I do have, I don't have a lot of yardage, but this, I have a lot of yardage, and I think it's just perfect for this project. It is a fairly thick, fairly heavy weight fabric. But it also has a little bit of drape to it. And so I think it'll look really nice for this project in the way that it is the flared design. And so it's meant to kind of have some kind of structure, but I don't want it sticking off of me like Christmas tree shape. So I like that this has a little bit of drape, so it might hug a little bit closer to my body. And then since it's lined, that means I have the pleasure of choosing two fabrics for this project. And so I ended up deciding on this really cute, fun pattern. It's a little bit of a thinner, really nice and soft cotton material. And so I decided to use this for the lining because I think it will be a beautiful contrast against the cocoa brown. And it'll be nice and soft against my skin, which is what I want for the inside of the coat. There's a few different design choices that I need to make, and I think I've decided. Length. So there's like a short and a long option. I think I like the shorter option that stops kind of upper mid thigh versus the long option that goes to the knees. And the reason I like the shorter option is because I am envisioning wearing this with like a mini skirt and some leggings and tall boots. And so I think I want like some thigh exposed. And then I'm trying to decide still if I'm going to do a hood versus a collar. And then for the collar, I'm trying to decide between like a cute little mandarin collar versus a Peter Pan versus just a straight collar. I think I want to go with just like a teeny tiny little mandarin collar, kind of like the red photo. As much as I love these pieces with the fur trim on the sleeves and the neckline, that's a little bit above my skill level right now, I think. And I'm not quite ready to purchase fur and learn how to sew with it right now. But this is a project that I'm looking forward to making again and again and again, if all goes well. And so I think eventually, once I get the pattern down, I will buy some really nice wool and then get some fur and make like the cutesy fur version, like in some of the inspo pics. But for now, I think I'm gonna go either plain bell sleeve or a more straight sleeve with a thick hem. Still deciding. And then tie versus buttons is a real issue for me. Again, kind of like the red coat in the inspo picture. I think I want to do both. I think I'll do the tie at the neck with buttons down the front. So with all that being said, my decision is short length, buttons with the tie, I think bell sleeves, and a tiny little mandarin collar. I just don't really wear hoods. And as cute as I think the little Red Riding Hood situation is, I think I just would prefer to do a little collar. So yeah, that's what I decided. Okay, let's do it. I'm ready. Let's start. I have just barely enough of this. Hey. No. Stop it. I'm having the worst time ever with this project right now. And it's because I hate doing side seam pockets. Like, I just try to do it in a way that'll make it finish clean. And so I like to serge the edges. But then my serger, like, I'm never able to figure out how to do these like 90-degree angle pivots on my serger. And so they just never turn out good. From the front, I didn't top stitch because this pattern didn't prompt me to. And so I just feel like from the outside, my side seam pockets are always very like thick and bulky. And I think if I just ironed it and top stitch it, that would be fine. But also, this is a 1970s pattern, and I realized that there was not cell phones in the 1970s. And so these little pocket bags are so small. Like, it would not successfully carry a grape. Like you could not put anything in here. I can't even fit my hand in there. I'm at a point where, yes, I need to learn how to do side seam pockets with my serger, and that is high on my list of priorities for sewing. Maybe if you guys have any tips or tricks, I'll probably end up watching a YouTube video on it, because I just want to finish the insides of my clothes and make it look nice. Also, this project is lined, so I don't really need to worry about the finish for this one, but it's just the principle of it. Like, I want to know how to do this for future projects, and just as I'm trying to become a sewist. So yeah, a little frustrated. I'm at a point where, because the pocket bag is so small, it just feels useless. It's like totally non-functional. So I think I might just go through and serge the side seams together and not do pockets, and then I can think about doing like some front facing pockets. So I think I'll do that next. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm at another fork in the road where I have my sleeve here, and it's inserted into the sleeve hole of the body of the garment, and the pattern is meant for you to gather the top part of the sleeve here, so that you'll have like a little bit of pucker on the top, like a little bit of a volume at the top. And I don't want that. I want it to just be a straight sleeve, no gathering. So I'm just finding the sweet spot here where the two fabrics are about the same length, and I'm just gonna cut the remaining portion off. So it'll just be a straight sleeve. I do not want any gathered sleeve at all. So, here I go. I have all this extra material because all of that is supposed to be gathered. I'm refusing to gather it, so I'm just gonna cut it off. We are making progress. This is what it looks like so far, and I really like the shape of it. Sorry, my stomach. I really like the shape of it. It has the bell sleeves and a little tiny bit of flare, no more pockets on the sides, and then I just came in and did the shoulders, and so I was just testing out like how much fabric to keep. There's a good amount here. My stitch line is here, so all this fabric is coming off. So I'm going to go through and cut that off. And then I'll probably serge around just so it has a nice, strong, clean finish. But I did that because I wanted the shoulders to just be a nice, clean, flat line like this. I am super happy, and I am going to move on to the lining. I also think I am going to attach the front-facing pockets. So I need to do that before I attach the lining, so that you can't see the stitch lines on the inside of the lining. So gonna do that right now too, wrap up a lot of things, and we'll check back in tomorrow. Okay, so I took my phone and just cut out a triangle that was, a rectangle that was a little bit bigger than the size of my phone. And then I sewed it down to the front of the jacket here, when it was facing down. So then I sewed it and then flipped it back up. That's why we don't see the seam here. And then folded the sides under, folded the top under. I need to sew this part to make that hem. I will sew the sides down to the coat. And then I took this other piece and I folded all the sides under. I'm going to sew it down here, flip it over, and then I'll top stitch that part down so that it'll lay down nice and flat. We have pockets. I think they turned out so well. They are patch pockets. They look so good. I'm so impressed. Didn't know I knew how to do that. Just learned something new right now. I think I'm gonna do the flaps on top. So this has been pretty stressful because this is a really stretchy material, and so as I'm trying to sew the two pieces together, there's like a lot of stretching and moving, but I just lengthened my stitch length and it turned out really well. Very happy. We have pockets with flaps. I think I want to do buttons, just like one button on each of the pockets. But I'm nervous because last time I used my buttonhole on my brother sewing machine, it did not work and it like totally ruined the piece. And so I'm nervous to do it again. I need to do some troubleshooting, but that might be like the last detail that I do after I do everything. So right now I am done with this shell of the garment and I'm going to move on to adding the lining. I'm going to attach it at the neck and at the bottom and we'll go from there. So now it's time for me to attach them, which I started by attaching them at the neckline with wrong sides together, so right sides facing out, and then I flipped it so that wrong sides were facing out, right sides are together, and I sewed the bottoms together. This was after I took 2 inches off the bottom of the lining, and so now I'm going to flip the coat back right sides out, and that bottom hem will be hidden, and the lining piece being shorter will pull the bottom hem of the shell underneath. So it'll make this really nice finish once I top stitch across here. So I'm going to do that top stitch, and then I will hem the 2 sides just by folding it over 2 times and top stitching. And then I'll hem the sleeves, probably by doing the same. I did try it on and I think I want the sleeves to be a little bit longer, and so I might take some extra fabric and create like a hem piece. So I'm gonna play around with that a little bit, but we are almost there with a completed coat. I love the way this looks. I think it looks so good. So now I have it all laid out nice and flat. I just want to make sure that I have the bottom hemmed down really nicely so it's a very even hem, and then I'm gonna go top stitch it. Okay, I'm ready to start doing this top stitch around the hem, and I'm really nervous just because I want it to look perfect on the outside, but I did line it up and pinned it down and I ironed it so I have a nice crease, and I'm just gonna follow that and we'll see how it goes. It's such a heavy material. I worry that the weight of it is going to cause puckering or misalignment, but we'll see. So far, so good. The hem is done, and it's pretty even. I'm not mad at it. I daydream of the day that I own a house, which I'm working on, and will finally have more than a half of a closet worth of space to sew. That will help me with getting these clean finishes when I have a table to lay it out on, but anyways, I digress. For the most part, the hem came out pretty good, so I'm happy. Now I'm going to hem these center front pieces and then the sleeves. So I have my button maker so I can make it with my own fabric. I think I'm going to do 5 buttons down the middle, and I cannot decide now that I'm seeing my scrap fabric of the lining. I can't decide if I want to do my buttons with the lining fabric or with the shell fabric. I'm like really conflicted right now. So I don't know, I think I like the pop of color from the lining. But then I like the simplicity of having it be the same color of the shell. This is a really hard call. Where's my shell? Where's my shell scraps? Oh, here. Yeah, I don't know. Here. So there's the matching or the lining. Maybe I'll do the lining for the patch pockets buttons and then do the shell for the other 5 down the front. Okay, I'm gonna do that. So I'll do the lining for the 2, because I want to do buttons on the patch pockets too, and so I'll do lining for those 2, and then I'll do the shell for the 5 down the front. Yeah, Yep, okay. Made up my mind, which is hard, but I did it. I'm ready to hem the front middle pieces, but I need to do the buttonholes first because once I do the hem, it's going to be really thick right there. Wait a second. I have to do it through all layers or the button won't go through. Okay. New plan. I do need to do the buttonholes first so that there's not this really thick hem in the way. Wow, I just had an epiphany. Okay. I was planning to just do the buttonholes through the top piece and then fold the hem under and sew, but then the buttonhole wouldn't be through all the layers, if that makes sense. Wow, I was not thinking. Okay, so now that I realize I need to have a smaller hem so that the buttonhole can go just to the outside of the hem. Got it. Okay. Okay, great. Here we go. So I'm going to place the marks for my buttonholes. I decided to do 4 based on the red photo from my inspo pics. And so I will march them out equal distance between them. I think I'll start the first one just right underneath where the collar is going to go. And I'm going to mark them just to the outside of where my hem line is going to be. I'll do the buttonholes and then I'll hem. Here we go. So I recently got rid of my sewing chalk. Not sure why I did that. It's because I bought these pens. These pens don't work on this kind of fabric. So I need to get some sewing chalk. And I think in the meantime, while I'm doing these buttonholes, I will just use pins to mark where I want them to be. And I think it's gonna be fine. So I decided that I want the buttonholes to stop and give like a good amount of room at the bottom of the coat without having buttons. And so I measured out from here to here, the neckline to where I want the buttons to stop is 20 inches. So I can put 5 inches between each buttonhole. Silly math. Okay, I like that a lot. That looks good to me. Okay, I'm having a little bit of a pity party right now, kind of in my feelings, because I had some buttonholes that didn't turn out. Like you can see this one here. They all have this tail on them. It was my first time using my Bernina sewing machine for the buttonholes, and I'm just so disappointed. Like, I'm sad because buttonholes are such a like finalized part of the project. Like once it's done, and these ones turned out so bad, and I just paid so much money on this machine. It was talked up so much at this class that I took about how Bernina is like the star of the industry, and I want to believe it, but and it probably is that it's just my first time and I need to learn the settings and I need to practice more. But I'm just so surprised that like you get this like top of the line sewing machine and it can't do buttonholes correctly. So when I'm wearing it, the buttonhole will be covered by the big button anyway, so I'll be the only person to see that small detail, so it's okay. I always learn something new when I make a new pattern for the first time, so learning more about buttonholes. Okay, it's Sunday morning and I just woke up. Have not gotten ready at all. I'm in my PJs and I just jumped straight into my sewing room because I'm so excited. I'm almost done with this coat. All I have left to do is the collar. And so I think I'm gonna just knock it out really quick before I even get my day started. I have all of my materials here. I'm gonna do a quick trace onto some paper to get the general shape of the collar, and then I'm going to cut that out. I might do a mock-up first on some scrap fabric to make sure that it's the right shape and that it doesn't sit weird, because I don't have a pattern for this collar, so I'm kind of freestyling here. So I'm going to play around with this and then we will see what the final look reveals. So I'm at the point now where I'm attaching the collar. So I started off by making the collar as I showed earlier, just sewed that together, flipped it right sides out, and pressed my seams. Now I just lined it up. So the way I lined it up is I didn't close the bottom seam of the collar, and so I lined it up with the lining pieces right sides together and pinned. So I'll sew that down the neckline, so that when I flip it right sides out, that will be a really nice tidy seam. And then I'm going to just give this shell layer of the collar a nice little fold under and press, and then we'll just be top stitching that down, and that's how we'll get the nice clean finish on the shell side of the collar. So I'm almost done with my coat. I just need to finish this collar, so I'm going to go through and sew it down along the neckline, and then I'll be done. Unfortunately for me, I put the pins in backward. The pins are going into the sewing machine this way, and so the pins are facing the opposite way for me to be able to just pull them out. So I'm going to have to remove them early, which is fine because I did iron it nice and flat, so it shouldn't be a problem. My seam didn't line up. It's so annoying. Stupid stretchy fabric. I had it perfectly pinned. It's off by like 3 millimeters. So stupid. I did it! It's all done. I have a completed Mrs. Coat. I'm super happy with this project. I cannot believe that I did it. I love the way that this turned out. I really love my collar. I think the collar turned out so cute, exactly how I wanted it. The patch pockets are a little bit more narrow, like in towards the midline than I would have liked. I think I would have liked them to be more out here to the sides. Not a big detail. I do love having the contrasting color for the button. It's really fun because I am wearing my cute little tan kitten heels with it, and so I think that getting that little pop of color really helps me to elevate the look. This is totally something I would wear out to date night, to dinner, to the theater. I think it's so cute with the short skirt underneath, and I can't wait to get a lot of wear out of this. This project did take me a little bit longer to complete, which is totally fine. I really slowed down and just moved through it at a really comfortable pace for myself. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, I had a lot of breakdowns with this project just because there was a lot of learning happening. Some of the things that are most notable to me that I learned from this project are attaching the lining and the shell fabric at the bottom. I was not able to get a perfect hem, so there is a little bit of like a crinkle at the hemline at the bottom. I don't mind it at all, but I think what could have improved this would have been if I used my dress form to hang the coat when I was pinning the lining and the shell together, because it would have allowed the shell to fully drape all the way down to where it naturally wants to fall. So that's one thing that I learned. And then the damn buttonholes. This is now the second project that I've made that the buttonholes have completely ruined the whole thing for me. Luckily for this project, the buttons are big enough that for the most part they're hiding the buttonholes, but I just have a lot of trial and error to do, a lot of learning to happen with my Bernina sewing machine to get the buttonholes down. I also am considering to learn how to just sew the buttonholes by hand. I'm at a point where that honestly might be better. I might get a better finish. So I'll think about that for the next time I make this project. And then another thing that I forgot to do is serge the bottom of the flaps on the patch pockets. And so when you lift those up, those are unfinished edges. So that kind of takes away from the professionalism of the piece, but as long as they're down, then you can't see it, so it's okay. Lift them up. Ooh, jump scare. Next time I'll either serge or do like a double roll hem around the edges of the flap so that those raw edges are hidden. As I said before, anytime I make a new pattern, I treat it almost as a mock-up, in that I'm using secondhand fabrics that I'm okay practicing with, and I really do treat it as a practice. I have so much to learn as a beginner sewist. And so I'm totally happy with getting a piece that is pretty good, not perfect, knowing that I learned so much from it, and that the next time I make this pattern, or anytime I make any pattern moving forward, I have so many new skills and knowledge to use in my projects moving forward. Thank you so much for being here, sticking around and watching me create this coat. Hope you guys enjoy. Please leave me comments in the comment section. Let me know if this is a project that you would try. Let me know if there's anything that I did that you would do differently. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.